Live. And now if I go over here, that's live. And that is showing. Good stuff. We are live. Okay, live and learn.
Trying to refresh the page till it shows up.
Definitely working. Right. I am going to be a minute and I will be right back.
Sure.
While people come into the chat anyway. Give it a few minutes.
Nope, there it goes.
Yeah, we'll give it like 5 minutes or so. So I'll be right back.
Yep. Yep.
We were talking about how she questioned today and and I assured her that it was Thursday. I will tell you, she is extremely.
I'm in chat. Can y'all hear me?
So I have an idea.
Good, good, good.
Would either
Hello. All right, let's make a start. If you're still there.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Cool.
I was looking over how to do the poll thing. Because you can actually schedule it ahead of time, so I was gonna make it, for tomorrow when we start.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to a impromptu stream. Wasn't planning one today, but there's a bit of information that went about today and whatnot, so I thought I'd have a quick discussion because I didn't really get a chance to make a video on it. How's it going, Stephen? Welcome to the stream. Holt, how we doing? Taz?
And the rest is me.
And Pals. Yeah, I think I have too many videos going out per day. I think that might be the case with the notifications. Now let's give it a few more minutes while I sort a few things out. How's everyone today? How's their day been?
I was just watching some streamers early access on Pow World, and it looks amazing.
1,000 different pals at launch will be the biggest hit of 2024, non-AAA announced, says Ninja
No, it only
Squirrel.
has a little bit over 100.
Oh, new abilities equals 1,000 different pals at launch.
Yeah, because you can crossbreed.
That sounds so dirty. I'm just saying.
I mean, from what I've seen, 1,000 with crossbreeding. Okay. That's pretty good.
It's fine. Whatever I discuss in this, I'm going to probably cut and upload as a video anyway. He visited Balmung. It's a normal day. How's it going, Chili? Where was that? I mean, it looks interesting. It looks like it's going to be good. I just want to dive in and see what it's like. Because ultimately, that's where it's at, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's co-op and all sorts of things. PvP is going to come later.
Ah, that's what I was looking for. All right, we got that. We got that.
I don't know if it's going to be on xCloud, Chili, but I do know it is going to be on Game Pass and Steam and Xbox.
I think it was the investors' call or the shareholders' call, something like that. It might have been a shareholders' call. Either way, it's a call.
I just know Satya Nadella was talking about things, and people are taking it all sorts of out of context.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, it's a never-ending ride until Microsoft's communication decides to come out. Just they kind of need to be on point, right? They need to make it as blunt as humanly possible, and right now they're not. Laptop has limited space. Now you can get rid of Final Fantasy 14, right?
which is
kidding.
going to be coming also soon to Xbox.
Yeah, I'm just sad I can't use my account on the Xbox one for now because it's gonna have its own servers and whatnot for the beta to stress test it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Chili. Once it goes live, it will be everywhere.
I believe crossplay is also going to come to Pal World later as well.
I did ask about crossplay between PC and Xbox and PC Game Pass, but they didn't get back to me. I mean, they do take it out of context, but at the same time, Microsoft's communication is awful. It's just awful. You know, it is. It could be a lot better, but it's just awful. See, Chili signing up to Game Pass is finally becoming a X-bot. He's converting. You've seen it here first, folks. You know, he could deny all he wants now, but he said he's signing up to Game Pass. That makes him an official X-bot.
Oh, there was talk about that mind Nintendo trying to sue, or Game Freak specifically trying to sue Pal World because of Pokemon ripping off. I'd just like to point out, if they didn't do it with Digimon, they're not going to do it with Pal World.
Nah, they're not. I mean, they're different games. I mean, one has guns and the other one doesn't. That alone makes it different. And just because you could crossbreed creatures, unless they're actually using the same creatures from Pokemon, it's gonna be a little far-fetched to try and do that. I mean, just look at Connect 4. You've all heard of that kind of board game, right?
Yep.
I could call it Row 4 and have the exact same game, and they can't do anything about it as long as I don't use the Connect 4 name and logo. So, essentially, they can trademark the Pokemon name and maybe even go as far as trademarking the creatures, which is still going to be difficult, mind you. But they can't trademark the concept. I mean, the CFO probably has a vision that's conflicting with Phil Spencer. I mean, that much I can believe. Because the CFO is all about making money, right? When we got a new CFO where I work, she was ruthless. She didn't give two whatsits about anything. Her primary focus was to make money and save money the fastest way possible. Everything in between didn't matter. And I'm going to assume the same is for most CFOs because their bonuses and stuff are performance based. So if they are, wait, why can't I see you? Where did you go?
I'm still here.
No, you're here. But where did the Discord screen go?
Okay.
It doesn't even want to know the Discord screen right now. That's awesome. I mean, it's here. It's captured it.
Oh, there I am.
There you are. So weird. OBS, just go die somewhere. I'm so tired of OBS being trash. we want to fix. Let's it's over here. Let's pop that out.
Taz, in regarding to FF7 remake and rebirth, I think those were literally just Xbox fans like Colt Eastwood and maybe a few others that were just trying to stir up the pot, because there is some PS games that will come to Xbox. We just don't know which ones and when. But I don't think it's going to be the Final Fantasy franchise outside of 14. Uh, we may see the third installment, but people are also saying that the second one may also, because Square Enix is very dissatisfied with how PlayStation is making them exclusive.
I think a lot of rumors are flying. I mean, there's a lot of rumors flying around right now. A lot of rumors are flying around. Like, it's actually quite rampant with the way it is. And all it takes is one person to say one thing and it spreads like wildfire. But you know what's the one thing that doesn't spread like wildfire? Saying God of War is going to go over to Nintendo Switch. Outside of the fact that it can't run it, Sony's statements are very clear. They are very, very clear in what they're doing and where they want to go. Microsoft needs to be the same. They need a firm they need a firm message out there. And they need to kind of be, collaborative on that. MLB The Show is on Xbox because the license provider for MLB, actually MLB, turned around to Sony and said, if you don't put this on Xbox, we will take the license away from you and you can go do what you want and we'll give the license to someone else. So Sony said, do we lose millions of dollars or do we just port it over and make more money? They chose to make more money. So there's a lot of talk in regards. Let's make a start because I do want to only stream for about an hour today. Do need to get some sleep. Need to make sure I'm okay after my hospital appointment tomorrow for the Developers Direct, which we will be live streaming.
And just for anybody else who's here or on the Discord, I will be sitting in the general lobby on voice to talk with anybody who wants to bring up topics or list topics in the general chat that either before or after the actual direct we can discuss when the actual direct is not going on. So I'll keep y'all occupied until Chaos gets here.
All right, so here we have this over here. So I made a very, very satirical post there, which was aimed at one individual. I'm guessing you can guess who. Talking about sub-services. I mean, they keep mentioning that sub-services have stagnated, right? For Game Pass in particular. They don't talk about PlayStation, but they only talk about Game Pass. They've stopped responding to actual numbers about 2 years ago. So how do they know it stagnated? Hey, Chris, how's it going? Jin Bambino, how's it going, my dude? You on Final Fantasy Tactics games? Sappho, how's it going? Mark, welcome to the stream. Now, my question here is, how do they know that they've stagnated? Now, obviously, one would assume that if the numbers were great, they'd be singing its high praises. But we know that that's not the case because Game Pass has already hit 40 million. And I'm going to prove that in just a second. So, how are they getting the information if it's not made publicly available? So how do I know my numbers are anywhere near correct? So do you remember this screen that Mr. Nibs keeps posting about? Everyone must have seen this, right? Everyone's surely seen this. You've seen this, right, Power Boss?
Oh yeah, I've seen it, and it's a load of
What's this number over here? I'm circling it with the mouse. Unless I've disabled the cursor.
No, you can see it. It's 30 million.
30 million. So not the 25 million picture that he keeps on using to push his agenda. It is actually 30 million. Right? The one he keeps using to, push his narrative and agenda, the bullshit that he keeps on spouting with his essay-long posts, it's 30 million. It's clear here. It's on the guy's LinkedIn. 30 million. Now, after he posted this, once Microsoft forced him to take it down, but as you know, whatever's on the internet is on the internet. Once it's there, you can eventually find it. Took me a while to dig this up, but I found it. But there's more, right? There's more. So with 30 million, that's excluding Game Pass Core. This number here is excluding Game Pass Core, which we know is at 11.7 million. So if my maths is correct, 30 plus 11.7 is over 40 million, right? Unless my maths is wrong. But it gets better.
Absolutely correct.
It gets better, right? Because then we come to this screen here, which is from Statistica. As of April 2022, Microsoft's Xbox gaming subscription service had nearly 34 million subscriptions through gaming consoles. The Xbox Game Pass was by far the most popular, having accumulated 21.9 million subscriptions on Xbox consoles. Right? That is not including PC. Okay? And then we've got this over here at 11.7. So it brings us up to almost 34 million. Now we know from previous commentary and looking at this screen here, the one that he keeps showing, that there was a little snippet down here saying that Game Pass PC was at 15 million. Hey, Wayne's World, how's it going? So let's just say it's not 15 million, and I'm going to just, give the benefit of the doubt and say it's 10 million. Right? That is Game Pass PC, not Game Pass Ultimate, not Game Pass, or Game Pass Core. I'm just talking Game Pass PC. If we look at 33.6 million plus 10 million, what does that make, chat? Because my maths is a bit rusty. I'm still feeling a bit, I still feel a bit drowsy after today. But what does 34 plus 10 make?
Easily 44 million.
Right. Now, let's say for whatever reason, I don't know, I took 5 away off because I was being kind. But let's be extra generous and take another 4 away. So let's say there's 6.
Minus 9.
So there's 6 million PC Game Pass users only in the world, which there isn't. There's way more. We already know this. It's still 40 million. So where is he getting his 25 million from?
He's still going off of the leaks from probably the ABK deal, which are also like 3 to 5 years out of date in itself.
Jim Ryan has already said in that court hearing that Xbox Game Pass has hit 29 million. I don't know where he got his info from, but during the ABK trial, he turned around and said Game Pass has hit, as a collective, 29 million from his sources. So even taking that into consideration, his numbers are still wrong. And yet, my dude writes an essay to try and prove himself right. And then you've got those 2 guys, Chris Denting, whatever his name is, the one from Game Industry Biz, and the other one talking about how subscription services are stagnating. But if Microsoft and Sony both are not providing statistical numbers, how can they know where the numbers are right now?
Was 25 the reported number in that graph?
No, 25 was a
The
reported
growth?
number on the old LinkedIn page, which was this, the old one. This is the number that they keep falling back on. He keeps going back to the old version of this. He won't post the new one because it goes against everything that he's trying to lie about. He only posts the stuff about the old one, which, you know, pushes his narrative. Stephen Housley, if you're talking about the cam next to me, that is Power Boss. He's joining me as a co-host today. And we'll be here tomorrow as well for the Developers Direct. So no matter which way we're looking at this, based on the information that we have here and here, you're looking at least 40 million. So to me, Game Pass is growing. And I suspect PlayStation subscriptions are growing as well. They might not be growing at, you know, the rate that they were when they initially launched, but that's to be expected, right? If you're going to get a massive burst at the beginning, and then it slows down.
Now, I will say, even given these numbers here and the graph on the other page, we know that Game Pass isn't fully keeping all the members. So even if, you know, the 44 million is the correct number, we can safely assume that it's dropped.
That's why I said to
closer
40 million.
40.
Yeah.
Closer to 40. But then you also have to think, just from Starfield alone, it gained probably close to 5 million. So it's probably back up to 45 million now.
And that's the point I'm making. And with 2024 landed now, with games, I mean, we're expecting Hellblade to launch this year, Avowed to launch this year. We're looking at Stalker 2 launching this year. I mean, even Indiana Jones might be launching this year. I mean, that's a very big maybe, probably unlikely. But we're looking at big games here. Call of Duty is going to be on Game Pass more than likely, day and date. That's going to push subscription models because you can download them to the console. Towerborn, Towerborn is going to be good. I don't see Towerborn shifting that many subscriptions. It's not a subscription.
Also, don't forget that in just 2 days, Friday is Power World.
Yeah, Power World will shift subscriptions. You've got Persona 3 Reload, which I think, you know, for those that are into the JRPG market and enjoy that sort of thing, that could shift thing. So we're looking at quite a huge, substantial market there.
Oh, absolutely, Sappho.
You know, so PlayStation did lose. So they lost 2 months in a row. And because they lost 2 months in a row, and that was before the price increase, they basically stopped reporting after that. Hey, Guankus, thank you very much for the sub. After they lost those, they basically announced that they're no longer providing numbers because they didn't want to provide loss on loss because it looks bad to investors and to, you know, share prices. Obviously, the investors are going to know what it is, but for the public, it's just they're just going to run rampant with it, right? And cause unnecessary headache.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. They also did say that they're going to release the new financial information on the 30th of this month, aren't they?
It should be, yeah. As soon as Super Bowl halftime show has COD day and date this coming autumn, Xbox Game Pass potential library this year. I mean, yeah. You know, even if they don't switch sides, at the end of the day, I can see the subscription itself going up. And that's all they care about. Now, Jez released this article over here. If you haven't read it, I really recommend you go read it. It's a really good article. It's rather long. I'm going to post it into the chat. It's a very good article. Like, seriously. And, you know, for all the people that are saying Jez is kind of taking the low ground here, he put Microsoft, Phil Spencer, and the whole crew on blast in this for good reason. And it makes a lot of good points in this article. Because even though people continuously say that Game Pass is the platform, like I do as well, because that's what Microsoft wants, the reality is, if you want your Game Pass subscriptions to sell properly in huge numbers, the alpha is the console. And I agree with him here. And this is why I've always pushed that console sales do matter. The number of them shifting does matter. Now, does Xbox allow you to play on your TV, on your tablet, and everywhere else? Sure. But imagine if Xbox had 60 million units sold. We'd probably be seeing Game Pass subscriptions from where we are right now in the 40 millions, probably somewhere in the 60 millions at the very least. It's just simple maths.
Isn't it like 1 billion operation cost for Game Pass
It
per
is.
month? And they make between 3 and 5 billion?
Not per month, per year.
Oh, per year.
I mean, that would be a lot of expenditure per month, dude.
True.
It's per year. On average, it's 1 billion, and they make 3-4 billion a year, and then that gets reinvested into the software studios and stuff. It's a matter of time before casuals switch over to Game Pass, neither because cheap consoles like Series S or mobile devices or having xCloud on TV. Every 3 months, they recoup a software sale. They make enough money. So, in terms of, if we're looking at it purely on a numbers point where Microsoft just wants more money because they're greedy, I get what they're doing. But if they really want to, and Phil Spencer has said multiple times that he wants to double down on what it is, right? He wants to double down and push further and expand Xbox. He wants to grow Xbox. He keeps saying this. He said this during the interview with Jez Corden. He said this during the interview over in Tokyo, that, his focus is to make sure that those people that invest in the Xbox platform, i.e. the console, are looked after, catered for, and have the games that they, deserve. So in my opinion, there's something really wrong going on here with how they are communicating stuff. Now, not a single dicky bird has come out from Microsoft regarding anything going anywhere. Now, we know As Dusk Falls is definitely going to PlayStation. It's not being published by Microsoft Game Studios. It's being published by some small company, I think, somewhere else, which is weird. Why wouldn't Microsoft publish it? So even that leads me to think that there was a kind of, a contract clause in there to make it a timed exclusive. I know it's a Microsoft IP, but the developers probably made it, and maybe if it didn't sell enough, then they would have the option to port it over to another platform. Not really sure. But that one's weird, because why, Minecraft going onto Switch and PlayStation has the Microsoft logo on it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So why wouldn't this one have it? Stephen Housley, yeah, about that. It is, yeah. That's why I said about 4 billion.
Yeah, that's why I said between 3 and 5 billion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, if you think about the PlayStation 5 system doing all their technological marvels spouting off saying that it can do 8K on the console, you also have to think either A, the TVs that you're playing it on can't do 8K, and then B, if you're trying to stream, you're not going to be able to get that. Sure, you can record the videos in 8K, but where are you going to upload them? Because YouTube limits maybe 2K, and Twitch, you have to pay out the wazoo and have to be a big streamer for them to allow you the bandwidth to stream anything above 2K as well. Not to mention, if you're trying to live stream it, the latency between your internet of both recording and then do the encoding through any sort of software like OBS or a capture card and then re-uploading it, it's going to be hell on your internet unless you have top tier internet.
Colt, yeah, 505 did publish it, not Sony. Sony might own the IP, but it looks like the game being published on other platforms can, it can happen. Now, it's interesting that you raised that issue with PC, because we know that people say that, PlayStation won't publish their games on a rival platform, MLB being the exception. And what was it? I think I just saw someone say something here, which I was going to respond to. It was from Mark. I'm surprised Microsoft hasn't enabled 4K streaming yet. There's reasons for that. Mainly, they want to make sure that 1080p streaming is good enough. And for the most part, 1080p streaming is good enough. But the bandwidth that uses, the amount of bandwidth for 4K is insane. It's a lot. And not a lot of people can use it right now. But I'm going to get to that over here, because we're seeing more and more games going to PlayStation. In fact, I'm just going to show you this here. This was something that was put forward to Jim Ryan during the FTC trial. Do you agree that the PC platform and mobile platforms are not competitor platforms to PlayStation platform or Sony Interactive platforms? Remember, LaForge... Actually, no, I'm not going to use that word because that would be an insult to Star Trek. I'm really sorry, LaForge, if you ever do get to see this. I didn't mean to insult your name. But Dumbforge said that PC was not a platform. But here is Jim Ryan's answer. I would say the PC platform is a very direct competitor to the PlayStation platform. So if it's a direct competitor to the PlayStation platform, and Sony are acknowledging it as a platform, which now puts everything that Reforge said down the toilet, with him saying it's not a platform, why are they releasing games on rival platforms? I mean, he's saying it's a direct competitor to PlayStation platform. So why would they be releasing a game on a direct competitor, which is something that Jim Ryan said? Things aren't adding up. Things are not adding up here. How much is it just core though? Core is anywhere from £60 to 90 odd pound if you pay for it monthly. If you pay for it monthly, you're kind of ripping yourself off. I think it's like £9 a month. And so that comes to 90, 99, £108 a year. But if you pay for it in one go, as in a full 12 months, you get it for £60. I don't know what it is in US though. But you essentially get it for almost half price. Because over here, you can clearly see Jim Ryan is saying that PC is a direct competitor to the PlayStation platform. He doesn't refer to mobile, because mobile isn't a competitor. It probably will be in maybe 20 years' time. But right now, PC is direct competition. And that is why he doesn't want to release games day and date, because it's directly competing with him. But now we're seeing them releasing games day and date. Whether it makes sense or not from a business point, I mean, it will always make sense from a business point to release on PC because it's double dipping. You know, little Timmy might have a PlayStation and can't afford to buy a gaming PC. So he's going to buy it on his PlayStation, or he might buy it on his Xbox. Or maybe Timmy has a PC and doesn't want to buy a console because all he wants to do is game on keyboard and mouse. I know those people are weird, trust me. All PC users should just use controllers. It's the way of the future. But, you know, that aside, maybe Timmy only has a PC and doesn't want to invest in a console. At this point, they're losing sales, right? So PC is kind of like the Enigma platform where anything goes. It's kind of, to me, it's like the Nintendo, right? They're off doing their own thing in the corner, and if they get stuff, they're happy. If they don't, they just do their own shit. PC to me is kind of like the same. I mean, if you look at the amount of shovelware that's on there, it puts Nintendo's, e-store to shame. And then there are some games that you probably should never experience or see or ever go to the page, like I had done last stream. No further comment on that. But it just doesn't make sense to me. None of this does. Man, there's a lot of games on PC that is shovelware. I mean, a lot. I'd go as far as saying there's probably about 70%, if not more, shovelware.
No comment.
I've seen some of the shovelware with a deceiving name. I'm tainted for life.
Yeah, Demolisher. Brotato is not only going to be put into Game Pass, but it's also on Steam right now, and it is a direct, no, not direct, but it is a almost one-for-one copy of Vampire Survivors that started the whole Survivor genre of games that are similar, where you pick a character and you run around the screen with 6 weapons.
So, Ninja, I was speaking to someone that actually has ties with Microsoft not long ago. I'm not going to drop any names. This was a few days ago that I spoke to them. And I actually said the same thing that you're saying right there. Because my brother is an avid PlayStation fan, right? He's owned every PlayStation console. One of his favorite franchises before they went to shit was Pro Evolution Soccer. I mean, we were playing that game from the N64 days when it used to be called International Superstar Soccer. Such a good game. But, you know, Konami destroyed it. Like, they destroy everything. But when I told him about Game Pass, and I said, look, you've got a TV that can use the Game Pass app. You don't need the console. You've got a fiber connection at 1 gigabit. Why won't you use the service? And it goes, well, what's the point of me getting that and then buying games for there as well? So in his mind, hey, don't you dare turn my PC off. I already had OBS crash on me the other day. Silly cat. So my the perception he had was that you can download the Xbox app, but then you have to pay for the games. He didn't get the concept that it was a subscription service and that you get a bunch of games for free. So I logged in with my details and showed him all the games that he can play on the cloud there and then. And his kids loved it. There was games that were appealing for them, some that was appealing to him, and now he's subscribed to Game Pass. But the messaging and the advertising from Microsoft is so shit. And this is what I told this person, that they are shooting themselves in the foot. They could get these numbers. They could convert these people. a number of my colleagues where I work, years ago, before the COVID outbreak, when we used to be in the office, they all saw Game Pass as this kind of bolt-on store, like the Microsoft store. They didn't actually see it as a subscription service. These are really casual gamers, right? They're not like the hardcore gamers like you and me. They're not like the people that turn up to podcasts or to, streams or stuff like that. They don't even go to websites. These are the people that basically go to a shop, look at the box and say, oh, this looks interesting, and buy it. They go home, they're very disappointed, they go back, trade it in, get something else. They don't look at reviews, they don't look at Metacritic, they don't do any of that. These people are like as casual as you're going to get. That's the market, which is the biggest in all gaming. That market probably consumes about 90% of the gamers. And Microsoft is doing such a shit job in selling Game Pass that 90% of the market just doesn't know what it is. That's their problem. Sorry, you were saying?
I was just going to respond to Sappho. It says it has to be an incredible feeling for that developer of Vampire Stars. It was made by one dude.
Same as Tunic, right? Tunic was done by one dude as well.
I believe so, yes.
And what was that other game?
Valente, also known as Punkle.
What was that other game? There was that one other game that was made by one dude on PC and Xbox.
Oh, it was recent too.
I can't remember it now. It was proper 3D though. It was ported to Switch and PS5 as well.
I'd have to go back and look.
I subscribe to Game Pass to play Halo Infinite, and that's a good enough reason. And also why I bought a Series S. Got me back into Xbox. That's the point, Mayanist. But the reality is their advertising, their messaging is so bad, and I told him this. And I said, if there's one thing that you can pass on to, anyone that you know in there, is this. They need to, just like they restructured 343 and now Halo's actually improved and is a lot better, they need to restructure their advertising department and marketing because they suck. They really suck. They excel at syncing a company, but they do not excel at selling a product. And it kind of defeats the purpose if you're not selling a product. I can't remember the last time I saw a Game Pass TV ad. Then again, I don't actually watch TV. We don't get that here. Yeah, but we don't get that here. Like on our TV shows, we don't get Video Game Award TV ads in the UK.
Oh.
Like nothing. We don't get any of that stuff. There is like almost no exposure here in the UK. And then they wonder why their European sales are so low.
Are you talking about Stardew Valley?
Me? No, I'm talking about Game Pass.
No. That had one developer.
No, it was you were like this samurai girl. It had also had that kind of like police car in the chase when it was using the teaser reveal.
Because I've seen 14 games here, some of which I played actually. You got Undertale, Thomas Was Alone.
No, this is like a 3D game. Proper 3D. High graphics. Sanchez, I think it's because I've released too many videos today. Hey, Susanna, how's it going? Welcome to the stream, Demolisher. Yeah, I think...
Dust and a Listing Tale?
No.
That was an amazing game, by the way.
What was it called? Hold on, let me get it. It's made. I think the studio was Defango. Xbox game made by one developer. Because it was, when it launched, it was like a technical demo. It only had like 1 level or 2 levels. It was early access. Bright Memory, I think it was.
Bright Memory?
I think that sounds familiar. Bright Memory. Yeah, that's it. Mark confirmed it as well.
First-person shooter with melee elements. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one. That was one person too. That's pretty impressive. Peter Moore's on Don Matrix Xbox is done. Before Vampire Saviors, there is zombies. I made the game with zombies in it. That is free on Xbox. Did you, Genesis? Did you actually make one? I'll check it out if you did. Yeah, Bright Memories Infinite is the full game, right? But you know, you look at Europe. In Europe, there's almost no exposure for Game Pass, so you kind of have to wonder: are they hurting themselves deliberately at this point? You know, because it doesn't make any sense, at least to me. I'd like it to make sense, but it doesn't make sense, and I think that's a huge problem. Ah, right. You never know. You might have decided to get your creative juices on and start developing. TheChaosLounge, they don't know how to market to Japanese market either. It's not that they don't know how to market to the Japanese market. Don Matrick burnt real big bridges there. Like, he burnt enormous bridges there. He basically went there and insulted them. And came back. And then they gave him the middle finger. That's essentially what happened there. Don't understand the why. Chick fast moving, fatty. You know, that's essentially it. The 360 had a shot, yeah. And they had some really nice games over there. And I think the 360 did relatively well in Japan. Considering
Genesis,
its stuff.
The name of the game that you made with zombies, was that the one where you start off and there's like a light pole next to you and that's all there is and it's a little circle and you have zombies just coming at you from all sides? Because if so, I played that game. Pretty good, actually. I like it.
Mark, absolutely. And I think the passing of some games to the other platforms is a strategic part of that. Because the moment they go to buy another company, they need to be able to show, another studio or publisher, they need to show that they have been true to their word. Because the FTC is definitely going to sue them again, right? That's without a shadow of doubt. It's going to happen. But it should be a quicker turnaround. But if they go to court and say, look, we've got Elder Scrolls Online that we're still supporting and this we're still supporting, they've not added anything new that they said that they would on a case-by-case basis. So this is the thing. They've kind of made that commitment for a case-by-case. If you're making that commitment, you have to put something on there. You have to. Because that case-by-case, if it's indefinitely nothing, it's no longer a case-by-case. You're actively lying. And you've lied in court. But if they prove that, hey, we've put this game on the Switch, Dusk Falls on PlayStation, it shows that even if it's not AAA, it doesn't matter. The fact is, there are software going there, and the hold that the FTC has diminishes. Again, I've also been told that from someone that my thought process, though not 100% accurate, it's about 80% on the ball, on the money. Again, take that as you will. But that is my view as to why they might be doing that. They are doing this because they're not done buying. Because in 10 years' time, in 10 years' time, the parity clause with Call of Duty ends, right? So Microsoft legally has to release Call of Duty on PlayStation. Whether it's PlayStation 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, it don't matter. As long as Sony has a PlayStation console out there, even for the next 50 years, unless Call of Duty stops development, that Call of Duty needs to be on the PlayStation platform because Phil made that declaration on stand and under oath. So that can never change or he'll be in big trouble. But what does change after 10 years is the parity clause. That changes. So after 10 years, you'll be seeing exclusive operators, exclusive game modes, maybe map packs that we get 2 months in advance, stuff like that, or 6 weeks in advance. You'll be seeing shit like that happening. And then in 15 years, the Ubisoft contract ends. And once that ends, by that point, it's expected that cloud will become a lot more mainstream. And by that point, Microsoft's hoping to have a really nice war chest of just publishers that they can say, right, if you want to play these games, you sign to Game Pass xCloud. I mean, by that point, I reckon they're going to have a separate subscription for cloud gaming on its own. And they're going to be say, if you want this, you subscribe to our service and you can play all of these games. Or,
unfortunately, Addy, I don't think that's going to work.
Or you can go somewhere else for the same price or more and play a fraction of the games. And that's the goal that I see. What did Addy say?
He said just change the name to Duty Calls, boom, problem solved, no more Call of Duty.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Now, if it was made by a different studio, that would be a different thing altogether. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. Because why are you going to kill a cash cow? Call of Duty literally makes them so much money. And now that it's first party, they get 70% of all sales for it. Why would they change that?
Mark, they are obligated to put Call of Duty on PlayStation because Phil said to Judge Jacqueline Corley that, and he said this under oath because she turned around and said to him, can you make this declaration under oath? And he put his hand up in court and said, yes, as long as there's a PlayStation, Call of Duty will exist under. Now, listen to the words he said carefully. As long as there's a Call of Duty, a PlayStation, Call of Duty will be on there. Now, that can be misconstrued in two different ways, right? Now, the judge and everyone else, including myself, has taken that as long as PlayStation exists, the latest Call of Duty will be on there. But he did not use the word latest. He just said Call of Duty. Now, he can theoretically, I guess, with wordplay, turn around and give Sony the middle finger. But that would stop, that would be such a bad move for Microsoft that the next time they go to court for a big publisher buy, if they were going to buy a publisher, it would work against them in such a fundamental way that it would be the biggest block that they ever got in terms of a barrier to try to break through. Because at that point,
they'd be scrutinized 10 times more than they already were.
Yeah, they would have manipulated the system. It's just not worth it. And at the end of the day, Call of Duty just brings in enough money as it is. So just leave it the way it is. It's a game that needs to be played by many anyway to keep it alive. So I don't think it's hurting anyone. But if Xbox is going to get, exclusive game modes for 6 months, exclusive operators like Master Chief or whatever, the Doom guy, at that point, that could be enough to sway people to come over. Operators on its own are a reason for people to switch. Now, Cesano asked about what publishers could they buy. The only ones I can really see them going for, if they're going to go for a publisher, I would probably say the two that I would place high up on the list right now would be either Sega, which would give them a really good kind of segue into Japan, or Capcom. I think Capcom might be a really hard sell. I can also see them going for EA. EA has been, not Square Enix. I just don't. Let's be realistic. What does Square Enix do outside of Final Fantasy that's actually successful?
Oh, they've had tons of successful games outside of the Final Fantasy franchise. Supreme
In
Commander 1 and
in the
2
last 5 years.
in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look and see what they've published.
There's not many. Like the Dragon Quest games are good, but that's not tied to Square Enix. That can be removed from Square Enix at any time. That IP doesn't belong to Square Enix. So Dragon Quest doesn't count. So Final Fantasy is one of them for sure. But if we're looking at the other games that they've been releasing over the past 3-4 years, they've not done well. Even their retro games that they've re-released, they've not broken the bank. They've just been lackluster.
Octopath Traveler 2.
And again, how well did that sell? It's a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
But how well did it sell?
Kingdom Hearts.
That belongs to Disney. That can come off at any time.
No, that's actually Square Enix.
Let Disney turn around and say you can't use any of our characters. See how far Kingdom Hearts goes.
That's possible.
They're still tied to Disney. So if Microsoft buys Square Enix and Disney say, hey, we don't want to do none of that, and they pull the Disney character license away, that's it. No more Kingdom Hearts forever. So Kingdom Hearts is in the same boat as Dragon Quest. So Square Enix is a really, really risky one. There's too many red flags there for me for Square Enix. It would be a good buy, but I think...
Of course, there's the Final Fantasy 14 Online.
Yeah.
Star Ocean series.
Yeah, again, Star Ocean, the new one that just came out. How well did that sell?
I have no idea.
And as he said himself, Final Fantasy is really the only true big IP that they have. Blue Dragon was done by Mistwalker. That's a separate studio to Square.
Oh God, they did Forspoken.
So in that regard, Dragon Quest is huge in Japan, but that could always be taken away from Square Enix
Valkyrie
at any point.
Profile, Nier. I mean, there are some big Square Enix titles that they have made.
Yeah, but they're not how can I say? Was Nier Automata a console seller?
Console seller, no.
Okay. Was Final Fantasy 16 a console seller?
God,
Yes.
I hope not.
It was. It was. It was. Now, to me, Nier Automata is one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
game is phenomenal. If you haven't played it, it's on Xbox as well. Go play it. Hey, what's up? Why so serious? Really good game.
But yeah, their two most prominent titles, big name franchises, are both the Dragon Quest and the Final Fantasy. Yes, they do have some other big banger titles, just none that shoot through the roof.
But what I also think they should do is actually go to Japan and actually look at, as Cesano said, I am seeing your post, Cesano. He makes valid points. You don't need to buy a publisher. And I think this is the other thing I've been saying all along. A lot of people are looking at publishers like EA, Square Enix, Sega, but there's studios as well that make phenomenal games. And investing in those studios is a lot cheaper and a lot simpler to purchase because they're just something you can just go and swallow quite easily. And those studios could end up making some of the best games out there for the Japanese market. You just don't know. It just needs the investment. So we shouldn't always look at the publisher, even though what Microsoft wants is to build that war chest, which is why they're looking at publishers. But if they want to infiltrate Japan properly, they should have been investing in studios in Japan that are building games for them to build their games. And I know they've said that they're doing that for for a AAA game at the moment, but it shouldn't just be one. They should have 10, 15 games on the go over there that are coming for Xbox.
I actually think Sega as a third-party exclusive publisher would actually be very nice, and then later on make it a first-party publisher as well, because You know, Sega's not going to side with Sony after they put them out of business.
Well, the person that's actually in charge of them right now is the one that put them out of business.
Oh God.
Exactly. So that's not entirely true. But
That's funny. That's absolutely hilarious.
but you know, even if Microsoft was to go and purchase Sega, I don't think those games would be exclusive to the platform. I think you'll see a few games that might be exclusive, but I think the majority will still remain multi-plat. I think Bethesda is really the only one where they're trying to make everything exclusive. Everything else, in terms of studio
Yeah,
wise,
everything else is up in the air.
yeah, anything
But
that's
Bethesda's
Microsoft Game
ZeniMax-
Studios is exclusive. Everything that's ZeniMax, outside of the ones that are already pre-existing, seem to be exclusive. But the ones that are ABK, I mean, for the majority of ABK games, they're going to be multi-plat. But if they buy Sega, they're going to be multi-plat with the games going day and date on Game Pass. You know, if they go and buy EA, I can see the same thing. The same treatment that ABK games are getting. And this is why Peter Hines got annoyed when he turned around to Phil and said, why are our games restricted to one platform when theirs is on multi-platform? It's a good question. It's a good question, right? We never really saw the answer to that question. But he did question Phil with that question. Why are we exclusive and they aren't? Why are they not exclusive?
I like what Susano said. Going to shut up on this, but keep in mind you don't have to buy directly. A lot of companies are owned by others. Just by the
Yeah, that's what I
owners
was
you get the
what I was
children.
responding to.
I know, just say the way it was put, where just by the owners you get the children.
I mean, Embracer Group have bought so many they can't even sustain it anymore. It's crazy. But yeah, going to Embracer Group and just cherry picking some studios to buy would actually be okay, But then I saw this video over here, right? And I think this is going to go quite viral at the moment. I'm going to play it. Hey, Devastator, how's it going? I'm going to play this real quick because I think it's worth listening to. But I think it's absolutely wrong. And then I'll say why. But I'd love to get your opinions on this.
I am canceling my Game Pass, and I'm going to tell you why real quick. So I pay $17 a month for Game Pass, $204 per year.
Is it really that expensive for you guys? That exchange rate is crazy. Yes, he did, Devastator. Yes, he did. Thank you for that membership drop there. I appreciate it. We pay 130 odd quid over here.
There's only X amount of games that I like playing constantly. And by constantly, I mean I beat them and then I'll revisit them a year later because they're just that good. So I did the math. How much would it cost me to purchase the games that I do play on a yearly basis versus paying for Game Pass? So Gears 1 Ultimate Edition, $15, which by the way, still brand new. Gears 2, $11. Gears 3 is on the way, $8. Gears 4, $13. Gears 5, $14, brand new. Master Chief Collection, $17 on the way. Halo 5, $9 on the way. Sunset Overdrive on the way, $12. Rise, Son of Rome, brand new, $13. Redfall, $5. Shadow of Mordor, $5. I just bought that because it was my first. I knew I was getting an Xbox, and I saw it on sale, so it was just a game that I bought. Game Pass. Where are the day and dates? Just on the Gears and Halo games is $86 that I spent. On all the other games that I mentioned is $130. So next year, I don't have to buy them anymore. So therefore, whatever games that I buy, that's going to be my new cost. We don't know what's coming out this year. Hellblade might be coming out, right? That's $70. I'm thinking it'll be $70. I'll just buy that. And if nothing else comes out, which is Xbox history, right? then I've only spent $70 and I saved myself $135. We just have to be smarter with our money, man. Look, people say the value in Game Pass is incredible because there's so many options. But let's be real. Look what's coming to Game Pass. Turnip Boy, Brotato, Persona 3, and Ayuden Chronicle. Okay, I can see people being excited for Persona 3 Reloaded, but what about the other games? Just something to think about. Now, this pertains to me, may not pertain to you, but I think a lot more people are like me than they are you.
Yeah, I 100% disagree with him. And where's my response to this? My response was here. If he played Redfall day one, that's $70, right? It doesn't matter whether he liked it or not. If he's going to play it, he has to go and buy it. Even if he doesn't like it and he's going to go and trade it in after that, that's irrelevant. He still has to buy it to play it. So that's $70. If he played Forza or Starfield day one, that's $210 right there. He said $204. So he's made his money right there. That's before the Gears of War stuff and stuff. I said it makes a good point, but they are flawed. We don't get demos no more, so even if you played them for a couple of hours each, that would be something you would have to buy in order to play. Sure, he can trade it in, but it's also an important distinction. Add to this, Game Pass, like PlayStation Premium, is only as valuable as you use it. The same with Netflix and all subs. If you watch 2 shows a year on Netflix, you're better off buying them. But this is nothing new and applies to PS Plus, Game Pass, and even Nintendo Online. I personally pay for Nintendo Online every year, and I've never used it once. Not the retro games, not the online feature. I'm wasting my money. PlayStation Premium, never download. Okay, that one's actually a lie. I downloaded the Sonic Trial once, and I still haven't played it. So I guess that kind of counts. And I tried one PS3 game to see how it works on the cloud. I'd be better off with extras. Or, PlayStation Essentials, in all honesty. But for a couple of years, they gave a discount, so I went premium. They actually sold me premium for the price of extras. This year, they didn't sell me that, so I'm definitely going to be jumping off premium and going down to extras at the max top level. May even go all the way down to essentials because I'm just not seeing the value that I get there. I'm going to cancel Nintendo Online because I haven't used it. But when it comes to Xbox Game Pass, I've played Lies of P. Whether I've enjoyed it or not is irrelevant. The fact is I have played it. And in order for me to be able to play that game, I have to buy it. There's no demo. Redfall, Forza Motorsport, Cocoon, Sea of Stars, Hi-Fi Rush, Animal Party, Remnant 2. There are many more. I did buy Starfield. I spent a lot of money on Starfield. But as you can see, between all of this, to me, that is way more than 132. And if we're looking, I said, if you only decide to buy yesteryear games that are super cheap, like someone in the chat just said, right? Sure, it's going to be cheap. But the moment you buy one game that's released brand new, I mean, he said he paid $5 for Redfall. But he would have tried that day and date to see if he would have enjoyed it. Right? The fact that he tried it day and date, that's $70 gone. You count that as $70 because there's no demo.
And that's not including the Bite Back edition, which was the deluxe version of it. That's not including if he got the Starfield upgrade to premium for when the DLC releases in February. I mean,
And so I said,
you just get your value easily. If you even play one game, you get your value back.
I mean, just look at this. This year, I'm going to definitely be playing Hellblade 2. Avowed, if it's coming this year, and Stalker 2. Now, just from those 3 games alone, it's £210. Now, if I count just those 3 games from this year, and just these games from this year, I've already paid, theoretically, my sub for 2025. Right? The amount of savings I've made will easily pay off my next year's subscription. Crackerjack, what's wrong with what I said? So I see this as a completely and utterly bullshit video, a bullshit post, nothing but to, shit stir. But that's just me. But like I said, at the end of the day, if you only use it to play one game, then it's definitely not worth it. But the moment you try any of the day one releases, and there was a number of third-party games that were released day and date. The Persona series, for example, that were on there. Well, they weren't day and date, but there's a number of games that were there. So to me, to turn around and say this is a whole bunch of bullcrap. I don't know if you agree with that or don't agree with that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, Susanna, that's basically what he said. Get ready to not own anything of your games anymore, going all digital moving forward. I mean, I agree with you. 100%.
People might not like what Ubisoft said, the executive said. But the reality is that is where we're going. People just don't want to hear it. Physicals are going. And, as much as people want to fight that, as much as people want to deny that, as much as people want to kind of, without sounding condescending, live in their own bubble and think that as long as they ignore the problem, it won't happen, it is going to happen. It is. A lot of people might not like it, but physicals will go. And it will just be a digital platform going forward.
Scarlett, we won't know anything about Indiana Jones, hopefully until tomorrow at the Direct. We know it's coming, we just don't know if it's going to be this year. Although
it is coming to it will come to Game Pass because it is an Xbox game.
But we don't know if it's going to be this year because although looking at last year, everything that they had on the Xbox Direct, everything did launch that year, so it's safe to assume that all 4 of these games are going to be launched this year. And don't forget, there is also a secret 5th game that is going to be announced as well.
K to the goat. I agree. There are a number of games that actually do work, even though they are diminished to a certain degree, right?
Absolutely.
That will work. Some of them will require a day one patch to iron out bugs. Or like even Call of Duty, you can play the single player, but you can't play the multiplayer. So you're always getting this diminished version of the game. There are a few that give you the full game, like Mario Wonderland. That is all inclusive. It doesn't need a day one patch or nothing. It's just there and it works. Not Wonderland, sorry. Is it Wonders?
Wonder.
But the note, like, if you go and buy Avengers, that's a coaster without online. If you play Destiny, it's a coaster without online. If you go and buy Gran Turismo 7, it's a coaster without online. More and more games are requiring online, and this trend is going to continue. It's a nasty trend, I'll give it that. I don't like it. I don't think all games should have a requirement to connect to the internet, but at the same time, the day of physical is going. And more companies are just removing them.
That's absolutely true. If you don't like Game Pass because you don't own it, then you're not going to use any music or video streaming services either. 100% true.
My Steam Deck has ROMs, Steam library. And this is the other thing. Steam has been all digital for God knows how long. I actually found my first physical PC game in over 10 years. Can you guess what game it was? I shit you not. It was a physical game for PC. It was released in 2023, and it actually came with a CD-ROM. Do you know what game it is?
I don't remember what you told me it was.
I know. The trauma is enough to set you back. It was Gollum. They actually released a boxed Gollum on PC. Can you believe that? With a CD-ROM. They released Gollum.
We don't need to do the poll tomorrow.
But You know, Steam has been digital for God knows how long. Why is no one complaining about Steam? Is it because Gabe the Overlord is there to kind of save the day? That's fire. But let me see. Gollum. Let me see if I can find it. Gollum physical. But yeah, I disagree with this guy completely. I just wanted to
I mean, he kind of ratios himself just saying everything that he paid for all those because of the fact that literally every
There you
single
go.
one of those you get on Game Pass.
There you go.
That's just a nightmarish to even look at.
It doesn't even want to load. That's how bad it is.
Oh.
Is it gonna load? I don't think it's even gonna load.
Here's the thing, Xbox games that are digital are yours to own as long as you are alive, because after you're gone, you can't take them with you, so enjoy them while you're here and enjoy life, keep living. I mean, Dion, there's a good bit to say in that regard, though, because, you know, that could be said for the same about everything that you own,
Yeah.
digitally, physically, or whatever.
But as you can see here, the PC version does exist.
Yeah.
And it's sad
That is-
that it exists.
That is so horrifying to look at.
That still doesn't want to load. No, I can't be bothered.
It's Gollum. Whoever cares about Gollum?
It's on the Spanish side, but it won't load. But yeah, so it exists. It's there. So if anyone is interested in buying Gollum on PC as a physical for a keepsake, because I know you all love your physicals, here you go, buddy. Here you go.
Devastator.
What does he say? My
You said
precious.
Gollum, my precious.
It's down because everyone's buying it. Here's the thing, Xbox games that are digital are yours to own as long as you're alive, because after you're gone, you can't take them with you. Well, you can't take anything with you. So there was this one guy in Cyprus, Northern Cyprus. In his will, he put down that when he dies, he wants all of his riches to be buried with him. And so when he passed away, they buried him with all his riches. His grave was robbed so fast, it's not even funny.
I can imagine.
That shit was robbed. It still didn't go with him. Poor guy. Maybe I ran a gaming museum or something. No, otherwise. So this is the statement that I want to... there's a couple of things here I want to just cover before I call it a night, because I didn't want to stream too long tonight. So let's just listen to what's being said here, because I'm sure you lot have all heard it.
Jacob asks about the health and future of Xbox. Satya, could you give an update on our gaming business?
Yeah, we're very, very excited about everything that's going on in gaming, especially with the close of Activision, Blizzard, and King. We think that now we have the ability to really do what we've always set out to do, which is build great games and deliver them to folks across all platforms, right? Which is Xbox or and consoles, the PCs, and now even including mobile gaming and cloud gaming. So we're excited about the future. We want to do our very best work in gaming. It's a core business for us. But also, I see tremendous synergy between what we're doing up and down the AI stack. I always say Microsoft's not a conglomerate. We have one platform that we express through multiple different addressable markets, and gaming is one. So when I think about AI, what we're doing at the infrastructure layer or what we will do at the edge, it's sort of the same set of transistors that first were used for graphics. Guess what? Are being used for AI. So you can connect the dots and see why gaming is going to be more strategic to us.
So if we come back over here, I think it's right here.
Blizzard, gaming, especially with the close of Activision, Blizzard.
So I think a lot of what he's saying here is regarding the ABK games. I mean, that's how I'm taking it. I'm not taking it as an overall thing. I think he's talking about... No, I don't see that as that translation at all. I don't see that as that translation. I think he's referring to ABK. But, you know, Satya Nadella has always been against exclusives. He's hated the idea of exclusives. But, you know, even in the FTC trial, has said, I understand why exclusives are here. But if Sony and Nintendo today got rid of exclusives, we would too. But as long as they have exclusives, so will we.
And King, we think that now we have the ability to really do what we've always set out to do, which is build great games and deliver them to folks across all platforms, right? Which is
all platforms, which is Xbox, PC, cloud. Now, this is the thing that I'm looking at, right?
Xbox or and consoles.
He says Xbox and consoles. So Xbox is a brand now, right? Just like Game Pass. Because if you turn around and say, I want an Xbox, you won't get an Xbox. You have to specify either a Series S or a Series X. But also those handheld PCs are also consoles now. Because they're not modular, that you can't upgrade them. The whole concept of a console is a one unit, right? Where there's no upgrade to it. It just works, and whatever the spec is, it is. But if he was talking about rival platforms like PlayStation and Nintendo, he would have specified those platforms. If he's going as far as mentioning Xbox, why wouldn't he mention PlayStation and Nintendo? He's deliberately omitted those.
Absolutely.
You know, that was a deliberate omission.
Well, he did say consoles.
But that could be referring to the Steam Deck, the Asus ROG Ally, the Aya Neo, which are all handheld consoles. They're handheld PCs, but they are consoles. Or he could be referring to the 2 series consoles themselves.
Yeah, I would say that more equates for handheld PCs, cross between PC and mobile, not a console. I mean, I know it is.
Can you upgrade them?
Not
The whole definition of a console is that they are one box and you cannot upgrade them. You just plug and play.
Well, I think you can actually upgrade
No, you can't.
some of them.
You can put add-ons on, but you can't upgrade their internals. I mean, if you open it up and void the warranty and decide to do what you're doing, you can do that with anything, really. But to the average person, you can't do it. So I don't think it's what people are saying here. And because it's so ambiguous as well, that could be taken in any direction.
Well, if you listen to him closely also, he does primarily say our primary focus is the Xbox console, and then we push out from our platform to everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, meaning PC, cloud, because cloud is on mobile, TV, tablets, you know, it can go anywhere.
But he makes no mention of rival platforms.
No, he doesn't.
And PlayStation and, sadly to say, even Nintendo are both rival platforms.
See, I think that's not true, Mark. I know that's what it looks like, but for now, it's not true. And if they were leaving the hardware market, they wouldn't be releasing another console.
Yeah, they've already announced the Xbox Next. We don't know specs. We don't know when, but we do know that the code word Elwood all digital model was shelved.
Yeah, that's
because of
shelved.
The ABK deal. But we don't know what they're going to be doing in terms of a new console later, especially given that there's supposedly the announcement of the PS5 Pro. You know, Xbox is going to just come out with something bigger and better, even if it takes a year later.
See, Cesano's right. Cesano's on the point. he answered the question without answering the question, and he just gave a blanket statement, and that is it. But he did not commit to anything outside of Xbox consoles. And the reality is, if Microsoft were leaving the console market, they would not be spending money right now to build a new one. It doesn't make any sense for them to build a new one. And at some point between now and then, they're going to, at some point real soon, they're going to have to come out and make these clarifications, because if they don't, they're going to find out no one's going to buy the new hardware. People will skip the new Xbox. But also, if they want to grow Game Pass, they need to sell consoles, like we discussed at the beginning of the thing. A hybrid console would actually be good. I've been saying that for a while. A hybrid console with, a Windows OS that can allow you to do something like that, if that's what you're referring to, that will give you access to like the cloud, where you can go and play GeForce Now and other stuff like that. That'd be good as well. Because you can use your Game Pass subscription on GeForce Now.
See, what I said is the next Xbox console should have a 10 terabyte SSD internal, all digital, cloud enabled, streaming enabled, and have a controller that specifically links to it. And all you need is a little USB dongle that you plug into any smart TV. So if the TV doesn't naturally have Game Pass on it, you can still put Game Pass on it via the dongle, and the dongle connects to your all digital console, and all the games and everything that you own in your library is on the console, and all you're doing is connecting to it through the USB to stream it to whatever TV you want to put it on.
But yes, but that still doesn't stop alleviate the problem that right now they're not there. Now the hybrid console theory that's there from those reports, we already know a lot has changed from those leaked documents. For example, as Power said, the Elwood console is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. It's been shelved. So people relying on that leaked portfolio that was up to 3 years old just doesn't make sense. We don't know if it's going to be a hybrid console or if it's just going to be a console. And to make that assumption just doesn't make sense. Cesano, essentially, the hybrid would react like a PC, yeah. But in the end, it's I think if they want to grow Game Pass, they have to focus on the console, because the console is the primary alpha for Xbox. When people think of Xbox, they don't just think of, if I turn around to someone and said, hey, have you got an Xbox? They're not going to turn around and say, yeah, look at my phone. They're not going to say, hey, look at my PC. They're going to say, yeah, I've got an Xbox Series X or an Xbox Series S. And that's the point. The console is still the alpha.
Or they're going to say no, and I just have Game Pass, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the alternative.
But at that point, they say no to Xbox. Even though it's, you connect the two, they are a separate distinction. And so I don't see them going out of business, out of the console market anytime soon. I do see, after 2 generations of consoles, Sony and Microsoft are going to be prepping to kind of dip out, because cloud by that point should be a lot more mainstream. And so they'll probably be releasing, gateways to, like Power was saying, to the internet. We're just not there yet. So I think we've still got another 2 console generations before they start dipping out. Except for Nintendo. They'll do what they always do. Their own thing. And as you can see here, most ABK games will be on PlayStation. I agree. They will. Select niche gas games titles may eventually go to PlayStation and Nintendo later, but it will be, it will be ABK. I don't see anything outside of really ABK going there, outside of a few select niche games.
Devastator, I could see the code name being Chimera or Hydra for that matter. It would fit, especially if they do something like the idea that I was proposing, where you have just one dedicated console to one TV somewhere in the house, and then anywhere that you have the USB dongle, you can literally connect to it from anywhere in your house. That would literally be a Chimera or a Hydra, many heads to access the same thing.
Am I hearing this? Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I think it will be 2 before they finally start to become relics. I just don't see it going past the next 10, 15 years. I just don't see it. And if the next generation doesn't kill off physicals entirely, the following generation will.
See, I will say the PlayStation 5 Slim is already on the wrong track with not offering the disk drive, because that was the PS2's biggest seller, is that they had a Blu-ray drive built in. And the Blu-ray drive for the PS2 was cheaper than going out and buying an actual Blu-ray player. And if they start taking that out like they're doing, I can even see even an all digital Xbox still having a disc drive, or at least an attachment, because of being able to
Historically,
play DVDs using it. And that's the biggest, positive of having it. Now, if you're going in all digital, you have all streaming services, you don't go out and you buy discs anymore, then sure, have an option of no disk drive, but always keep an option for a disk drive open, even if it's an attachment add-on.
That is the smallest Slim.
What in the hell?
That's the PS5.
Oh, I think I saw that. Yeah, he took out the
just-
clip of the PS5 and he put it into something that's like flatter, like a tablet,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got a screen on it and everything too.
Yep. That's crazy.
That's wild.
But
Wonder how much it costed him to make that.
a lot. Panther, I want something with a disk drive. I still have games that go back to 360 gen. I think what, as Powerboss was saying, I think there will be a disk drive. I don't think they'll... I think it'll be an add-on device, though. I don't think it'll be built into the console. It'll be something that you can get as an additional purchase. Honestly, at this point, the hybrid idea would work with a phone. It would.
Now, see, here's the thing. What I would like to see them do, release the next Xbox, make it an all-digital system, no disk drive, have an add-on that is a disk drive for both playing movies through it, Blu-ray or DVDs, but also allow for specific backwards compatibility so that you can store all your information actually on the drive. That's what I want to see. So you still have your physical games, you have your backlog of library, get this attachment, and you can have all your backwards compatibility. Problem solved.
Mark, I think the Series S version of the console is here to stay. I think the next generation, you are also going to see 2 tiers of the console. But I think they will have learnt a lot from this generation. And I don't think that they'll be making the same mistakes with the next generation. However, the lower tier console has enabled them to access markets where they previously couldn't. It's also allowed them to access households that previously wouldn't buy an Xbox because of its cheaper nature. As such, I don't see that going away. But where you had, 10 gigs of RAM this time, for the future one, they may bump it up to 16 or 32. So I don't see them making that same mistake again. K to the GOAT, people on the console market will never die. Eventually they will, just like all things. When you say never, never, I guess, because you can still buy a DVD player, but how many of those games are going to be physical? It's just going to be a box eventually that just runs digital games. I guess that's always something. It's always going to be large market. I'll question that. Even if PCs got cheaper, it's not plug and play enough for now. But that's where Steam are working on their new OS to try and fix that, right? They tried originally with the Steam console, and that flopped historically. That was such a monumental failure. But they're trying that now with their new Steam console that they're working on. And we'll see how that turns out, because that's going to basically be a PC that can be upgraded. I mean, it's essentially a Steam Deck, right? My Steam Deck right now is plugged into my TV, where the missus goes online because she's downloaded a few games on the Steam Deck, and she puts the Steam Deck on, she's got the controller plugged in, and off you go. In the future, I can see consoles disappearing entirely and just becoming handheld consoles, as technology allows it. Because now the missus uses my Steam Deck more than I do.
I mean, just look at the Nintendo Switch, and they're coming out with Switch 2, which is supposed to have compatibility of the Xbox One and the PS4 generation. That's a huge jump for Nintendo alone.
Susanna, I don't know how long that thing's going to last before it self-destructs. Again, you've got here Gaz saying, these lot are begging for it to be true. Not seen this kind of behavior since the ABK deal when they were lapping up regulators. Now they're watching Microsoft execs like a hawk. Do you remember how they were laughing at us when we were watching the court case and everything? Now they're on that shit like a fucking hawk, mate. They are eyeing everything they possibly can to try and get the gotcha moment. But I think eventually, when Phil comes out and addresses, and it is something that Jez Corden said, right? Where is the thing that I got for Jez Corden? Where is it?
Hey, Squiggles, welcome on in.
Hey, Squiggles. It's this one here. So let me just open this article. Again, this is a really good article, by the way. It's worth reading. And he goes through quite a bit. It keeps going. And going.
Jesus.
And going.
Just really went all out on this article.
Oh, no. He went all out. And it's a fucking good article as well. And it keeps going, by the way. And he says, I'm just going to read this part here. Microsoft just became the biggest company on earth. They are likely to overtake Tencent in the coming years for revenue. There will be a gigantic third-party developer on the back of games like Call of Duty and Minecraft, which are historically, and rightfully so, third-party, which I agree with. Why do we need to throw in Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush and whatever else on top of it? When Xbox customers know without a doubt they're not going to see any benefits from this. We're not going to get Mario or God of War on Xbox, and we're repeatedly told that Xbox is profitable. So, what's the point? An Xbox Game Pass is a viable business. I mean, we've already seen it's a viable business based on the metrics that they've shown. We were told during the FTC hearings that Xbox games are more accessible than ever, owing to cloud and PC gaming access. Is it not enough? And that's the point. Is it not enough? If not, Microsoft needs to come clean about it. If the consumers don't matter, that's fine too. But admit it. Don't try to curate a fandom and then be confused as to why there's a backlash when you're making moves that will potentially harm the viability of their investments in your platform. Like I said, he went all out in this article. It's a really good one, you know, and I'm sure Phil will read this. And sure, to reiterate again, none of this is proven to be actually happening. But I also can't help but think if there's no smoke, there's no smoke without fire. Even on the small chance that this is all within Microsoft's roadmap, I think it's important to speak up and push back. In my interview with Xbox CEO Phil Spencer a few weeks ago, Spencer had this to say on these kinds of topics. The thing I want to be focused on is how do we continue to innovate for people who've made the commitment to our hardware and platform? And how do we continue to make sure that they feel great about their investment in what we've built? And putting your first-party games on other platforms is definitely not going to make you feel great about the investment that you've built. There's no reason to think that this isn't still the play, which is why it's important to let Spencer and others know, respectfully of course, if this doesn't exactly make you feel great, which is the whole concept of what Phil was saying there about your investment, let them know. At least for me, unless Microsoft can explain how or why I should feel great about it, it just feels like a short-term profit play to the detriment of my long-term investment in Xbox hardware. It's a really good article, and I think he makes a lot of good points in here. But at the end of the day, it's all about communication. And, Phil is saying one thing, what's coming out of the camp or the rumors is another. And like he said, none of this is proven. Everything up until this point is a rumor. And they just need to communicate on that rumor. Consoles will exist like dryers exist. It won't be next-gen dryer, just a dryer. Just emulate. Emulation is really impressive right now. It is. Dolphin and Dreamcast emulation is 99% compatibility. Zemu's 85%. Even PS3, 70% emulation. Wish this was just about gaming, making them and players to me. Yeah. Once Sony and Microsoft made their console emulate PC, console was finished. Once Sony and Microsoft made their console emulate PC? I don't understand that.
I don't either.
Still need to read War is a Racket by Swin D. Butler. It's somewhere else today. It's related to what I'm thinking about with this. So I'll try and check that out. But at the end of the day, this article here to me makes a lot of sense. And he's come out in full force. And there's a lot of good points in here where he's basically turning around and calling Xbox out because that is what needs to happen. If Xbox has no exclusives, if Xbox begins giving up or begins creating an inconsistent world where you can expect to see games like Hi-Fi Rush or Sea of Thieves on other platforms at some point, it devalues heavily the entire Xbox proposition. Every game that Microsoft announced would become a debate over when or if it would come to other platforms. Even if Microsoft professes only some games will come, or it'll be a case-by-case basis, the lack of transparency is maddening enough, but it's not hard to follow the probable outcome of these policies, and that could be the death of Xbox hardware platform in its entirety. And that's the danger that Microsoft has here right now. If they don't come out with a clear, direction, it loses confidence. And this goes back to what I said earlier on. With the new Xbox platform coming out, the new console, if they go into that console with this uncertainty,
Yep. Why buy the console?
Why buy the console? That's the question. So, ultimately, it's down to Microsoft to fix this problem. For those people that are casual gamers that don't really give a shit where the games go and they just want to game on Game Pass and have a console to game on, this doesn't affect you in the slightest.
If they have something that can already play it, they're not going to buy anything new.
I mean, that doesn't affect you in the slightest. If you're happy as long as you're playing the games that you want to play and they appear on the Xbox ecosystem and you're happy days. For the vast majority, I guess this still probably won't be a problem, considering the vast majority don't even play the PlayStation exclusives. All they play is Fortnite and Call of Duty and Valorant. Or Minecraft, for that matter. Or Roblox. I mean, Roblox probably has more players than the majority of games combined. That game is huge. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it just needs communication. It just needs communication.
I got one thing, food for thought.
Okay. I like food.
You were talking earlier about what other publishers Xbox should buy.
Yeah.
Okay. And somebody, and I think even you proposed Sega. what if Microsoft, with their next gen hybrid console, whatever it's going to be, the Xbox Next, buy Sega, make them
Yeah.
first party, and then make a handheld like Sega had in the old days, but now for Xbox. Better than the PS Portal.
What handheld?
Just a new handheld for the Xbox system, because incorporating Sega had the Game Gear. That was
Yeah.
revolutionary for its time because it was the first handheld with color.
I think the way Xbox has pivoted themselves, I mean, a handheld Xbox would be cool to be able to install your native games. But for now, just like with VR, it looks like they're looking at third parties to drive that. Because they can get native Game Pass onto the Asus ROG Ally, I don't see them being in any rush to do it.
True.
And with the VR, there's already talks with Meta where they're trying to partner with them or with Samsung to, get VR enabled for whatever projects they have going forward. So that's been in the talks for a number of years now. So I think that's the direction they're going to go into. They don't have to foot the brunt of the R&D. So to me, the handheld side of things, it just doesn't make sense unless they're going to go with a specific, hey, look, this is an Xbox Series X. This is an Xbox Series S. And if they can fit the Xbox Series S in a handheld console, this is the Xbox Series S Lite. Whatever they want to call it. Xbox Series S handheld. I can't see them fitting the X into a handheld. It's just too powerful. But I can see them getting the S with some engineering and some luck into the thing. Because if they can do the Asus ROG and, we're looking at the MSI Claw, the Lenovo Go, which are really powerful hardware, the S shouldn't be that difficult. It just needs engineering to make it work.
I can see that. KT, literally after the ABK deal, everything else is a smaller publisher except for Tencent. So no matter who they go after, it's not going to matter because everything is smaller than ABK.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Wait, there's a PSVR 2? Could have fooled me with the lack of games. I mean, mine's a doorstop. At least it would be if it wasn't so light.
I think it had, 24?
No, Susano, I think you're actually making really, really good points. I like it. Keep it going.
Absolutely, Susanna. You're making great points.
It's just I have a hammer in my mind, and I think I need to stop turning everything into a nail. No, you need to go fight fire with wood and gasoline. That's what you need to do. Now, FTC can control and force them to do stuff if they go too big. Y'all think they say something about? I mean, they can make them go too. They can interfere. They can ask them to divest. They can ask them, but it needs to affect competition. It needs to affect competition. And it's been proven that ABK didn't affect competition because they're putting those games on to PlayStation. Now, if they were to buy Sega, I can tell you now with pretty much ease that 99% or at least 90% of those games are going to be multi-platform, but they will be day and date on Game Pass.
Yep.
And I'm okay with that. Like me personally, I'm okay with that. Because at the end of the day, what Microsoft buys and does, that's up to them. But if they're providing me with a better service for a subscription that I'm paying for, that's all I care about.
Is Nintendo larger than ABK?
Don't know.
I think Nintendo was only worth $30 billion, wasn't it? No, wait, they'd have to be worth more than that.
I mean, Nintendo's a company. That market cap is 7.37 trillion yen. That's yen though.
Yeah.
So let's copy that. Go to
Conversion calculator.
XC.
Every,
How many zeros in a trillion?
everybody in this room is that if these numbers are accurate, there is not
9, 12, 15. I think.
Let's try that. If it looks wrong, then we know it's wrong. Why are you going 10? Fuck's sake.
I think it's because you have the commas.
So that's 10, I think, trillion.
1,000 million billion. I think you need to add 2 more zeros. Wait, 1,000 million billion. 1,000 million billion trillion. Take 3 zeros away.
Katie Goat said it's worth 61. They are bigger than ABK.
No, because ABK was 80 billion. Or 70 billion.
Anyway, it's too late for me to do maths. But yeah.
They're just slightly smaller. Just slightly.
But they could buy them. They are next in line.
They are next. See, the problem is, then it stops being an oligopoly in the console gaming space, and I think the CMA would actually block that one.
See, over here you can see he says the reception is, I mean, is this a PlayStation fanboy? It's an Xbox ambassador. Now, I feel like any title is game for other platforms now. And that's the general consensus and feeling for Xbox games. Only certain ones may stay exclusive outright, like Forza, Halo, and Gears, but I definitely see other games just receiving timed exclusivity. Elder Scrolls 6 eventually, Game of the Year edition, will launch on PlayStation. So Colt says, is it Xbox exclusive? And someone says, Elder Scrolls 6 is one of those games like COD I could see as too big to keep exclusive. I disagree with that entirely. I think it can be exclusive.
Tell that to IGN. Tell that to every PlayStation exclusive that's out there.
But I wanted to end on this. Has anyone seen this company? Now, this is mainly for Europeans because Limited Games Run is for the US-based community. But for those of you that are in the European region, these people take basically games and make physical copies of them. They're pretty good.
Huh.
This is kind of one of those upward scrolling shooting games. I think it's pretty cool. They're reasonably priced as well. Tax included at 24 euros, which is roughly about £20. So if you like your scrolling shooters, like your Dodonpachi or whatnot, R-types, I am not going to put that on. So, it's basically a bullet hell. If you like your bullet hells, it's really good.
Played a few games like that. I have my R-type games.
I mean, I love my bullet hell game, so I'm going to be picking this up personally. But this website is, I only just found it today, and they're starting to do Xbox physicals for, titles, and apparently Alan Wake 2 might be one of them that might be coming as well for those that are looking for a physical version of Alan Wake 2. They are in talk with Remedy at the moment to try and arrange something. So,
that sounds cool.
Something to consider.
Drop a physical for Power World. I'm buying.
Opponent told me this just now. Yes, PC, it's its own platform at the moment and not really a PlayStation competitor.
Pokemon and Mario. Well, Pokemon is, but Mario is not bigger than COD.
Kabini, as much as that pony wants to say it, their granddaddy, Jim Ryan, as you can see on screen right now, has said PC platform is a very direct competitor to the PlayStation platform. So as long as Jim Ryan is seeing it as a competitor, it's a competitor.
Now, I will say this, Kubini. Everybody is going off of gospel from the ABK leagues, where Xbox said that if they don't hit certain
We got
threshold
it. Sorry.
that they're going to leave the console in 2027. Not only did ABK go through, so I don't see that happening in the slightest. I'm more worried about all the lawsuits that Sony has right now. They've got 2 in the works. They just settled on one of them, and if the employees over at Insomniac wanted to, they can actually press charges against Sony themselves too for their personal information leak with the latest hack that just happened, because more than just the game data was leaked, the personal information was leaked. And I'm sorry, but if any one of those 2 or a possible future one goes through for PlayStation that's that big in the billions of dollars, PlayStation's going to go under. As sad as that is to say. Do I want them to go under? No. Because just like if Xbox were to go under, PlayStation's going to go through the roof. The same thing will be if well, they can't buy Insomniac because Insomniac is already first party owned. Devastator.
I don't know, they could start selling off studios to think. I think if they sell off PlayStation, they'll be fine. I mean, they were originally looking to sell the PlayStation brand, weren't they? During the PS2 era.
Yeah, they were.
Because they were in financial trouble.
We're not going to hit this high again, and
or maybe, just maybe, they might apply to Klarna again and try to pay it off in 3 installments. You know,
I hope you're not serious.
It's possible. All right, folks. That is going to be it for me for today. We're going to be back tomorrow. It is actually today for me. With the Developers Direct. It starts at 8 p.m. for me, so we're going to be going live around half an hour earlier than thing, just to get everything set up, all the stuff sorted. So hopefully we'll see a bunch of you there. Hopefully tomorrow you should actually get the notifications, because apparently some of you didn't get it today. It's probably because I've just released so many videos, and because I'm releasing 2 videos every time a video goes live, 1 to members, 1 to thing, and apparently the members one, I didn't know the members one counts, but I'm guessing it does. So you only get 3 notifications per day. So for tomorrow, I'm gonna keep it down to just 1 video and make sure you'll get the notification when I go live. Also, if you go to either my channel or to, I guess, the YouTube dashboard, you'll see that I've got like a notify me. I've got a placeholder there that you can click, and it will send you a notification regardless, 15 minutes or 30 minutes before the actual stream goes live. So you can also do that as well. Right, folks?
And like I said, I'm going to be over in the Discord chat on voice even before that. So if you want to come and propose topics, or you just want to chill and talk and have a good time until we go live, then I will be in the general chat and the main lobby, so that way anybody who wants to can just come out and basically BS for a while.
Pony. All right, folks. And Power, where can they find you? Over on your social channels or think?
I'm on Twitch. I have PowerBoss123. I stream gameplay videos. I do Let's Plays. Not too much of anything in particular. I do upload to YouTube afterwards, PowerBoss09. You can find me over on Twitter at PowerBoss1983. I just have a good time, and if you're more than likely in an Xbox centric or a PC centric Salt Miner channel, you'll probably find me in the chat.
And with that, Avid is 8. Remain legend, folks. We're out.
Have a good one.